Hey everyone, it's Kelly. Thanks for joining me. I am back today with a new 12 by 12 scrapbook process video for the Cut Shop. And today I'm going to be using the Wreathed in Love cut file, and I do have a Cricut Design Space tutorial to start. So as you can see, I already have the cut file on the design screen, and I want to use the bottom portion of the cut file. So I'm going to go ahead and slice it apart so that way I just have that bottom piece remaining on the design screen. And I've used the slice feature, I think, in all of my Cricut tutorials, but just as a reminder or refresher, you're just going to insert a shape, lay it on top of the portion of the cut file that you're wanting to use, select the shape and the cut file, and then click the slice button on the bottom right-hand side, and that will separate the cut file image for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and separate these two images from each other also by using the slice feature. My idea was to create a large frame that I'm going to use on a 12 by 12 background. And in order to do that, I need to be able to reposition these two images a little bit differently. So that is why I'm going to slice them apart. Now I'm going to insert a scrapbook template just to use as a reference when I'm sizing these images. I want to make sure that they're not going to be too large when I am ready to send them to the cutting mat. And I'm going to drag these two images over now, and I am going to go ahead and rotate them slightly, and I'm just using the little arrow icon on the top right hand side of the cut file images. I want to square these off a little bit because I do want to turn them into a frame. Once I have them rotated to how I like them, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the images, and then I'm going to use the flip vertical option in order to flip them to create the frame that I am wanting to use on my scrapbook layout. Now, before I send this to the cutting mat, I will need to weld it together so that way it will cut as one image. But one tip that I have for you is if you're not ready to cut it right away and there are other things that you need to do on the design screen, rather than welding it together, go ahead and just group it together. That way you'll be able to resize it. You'll be able to move it around as one image. But if you weld it together and then say you do 10 more things on the design screen before you're ready to cut the image, and then you find out after those 10 steps that you need to change something in the image that you welded together, there is not an unweld option like there is ungroup and detach. So you would have to undo all of those steps that you had done after you welded the image in order to get back to it to change what you're needing to change. So I recommend not to weld it together until you're at the very end and ready to send it to the cutting mat. And you can use the attach or the group option in Cricut Design Space. That will allow you to resize it and move it around as one single object before you're ready to weld it together and send it to the cutting mat. What I'm doing now is I've just inserted a square and I've resized it to 4 by 6. I wanted to make sure that my photo was going to fit within this frame before I sent it to the cutting mat. And now that I know that it will fit, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that and hit the Make It button. And I know this was a fairly basic tutorial. I didn't really do anything earth-shattering, but I do like to show you anytime that I modify the cut file so that way you can see how I got from point A to point B. All right, so now we're ready to jump into the actual layout. So this is the photo that I'm going to be using today, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few moments. And I think pretty much everything that I'm going to be using today is from the Pink Paisley Paige Evans Pick Me Up collection. And I'm just starting out by backing my photo on some navy cardstock. This is actually outdoor denim cardstock from Close to My Heart, if you're a Close to My Heart person and you remember that color. And I just tore off the bottom piece. I wanted to have it have a little bit of some texture with the layers that I'm going to place underneath the photo. And this is actually the second take that I had done when making this layout. I started first with a white cardstock background, and I used the Seedless Preserves Distress Oxide ink, and I just applied some color kind of in a circular motion right behind where the cut file was. But I did not like at all how it was looking. It was a lot messier than what I was going for. So I ended up grabbing this pattern paper from the Pick Me Up collection, and this is from the 12 by 12 paper pad, and I liked the ombre effect of it. It had the color that I was looking for. The Seedless Preserves is very similar to this purplish color that I'm using in the background, but I just liked how that pattern paper looked. It just had much more of a clean appearance, but it gave me the color that I was looking for. And I actually recorded that part of the process, but because it didn't end up making it to the end and this video was getting a little bit long because of the Cricut tutorial, I decided to cut it out. But I did want to let you know that I did try something a little bit different before I decided on this background. I think that's important to know that there are things that happen with scrapbooking. Everyone runs into it where you don't always like how it starts the first time. And I try to include that in my videos because I don't want it to come across like I had this great idea and it all fell together, because that very, very rarely happens when I'm scrapbooking. I normally have 1 or 2 stages that I go through before I finally figure out and decide on what I'm doing. So right now with the layout, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to position things. And I know that I said at the beginning that pretty much everything that I use is from the Pink Paisley Paige Evans Pick Me Up collection, and everything that ends up on the layout is from that Pick Me Up collection. But I do go through quite a few of Paige's collections. I feel like a lot of her collections blend together really well. So normally when I'm scrapbooking with her collections, I'll grab everything that I have. So some of the things that you'll see me pull out and kind of try out on the layout may not be from the Pick Me Up collection, but everything that ends up on the layout in the very end is from the Pick Me Up collection. And I love that pattern paper that the cut file is cut on. It has these little gold foil dots on it, and it is just so pretty. And that is from the 12 by 12 paper pad. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. I wish I had 10 sheets of just that pattern paper. So I've added some foam behind the cut file because I did want to raise it off the background a little bit, and I went ahead and adhered that down. Now I am just working on getting everything positioned. I'm going to add some foam behind my photo. Also, I wanted this layout to have a lot of dimension. So my photo today is a photo of myself and my 3 siblings with my mom. And I don't know if I've ever really gone into great detail when I've talked about my siblings. I know I've mentioned them before in previous videos, but there's 13 years difference between the oldest and youngest. My older sister is to the right of me, and she is 10 years older than I am. My brother is 5 years older than I am, and then my younger sister is 3 years younger than I am. And I've talked about my younger sister in videos before. She is the photographer that has taken quite a few of the photos that I have scrapbooked, and she actually arranged for all of us to get together for this photo session, and these are photos that she took also. But I wanted to scrapbook this photo of us with my mom because my layout was going to be going up on the Cut Shop blog on Mother's Day, and I just thought it seemed fitting to scrapbook a photo and to make a layout all for her. I'm one of those people who is very blessed to call my mom my friend. All of my siblings were actually all very close with our parents. My older sister, my brother, and myself and my parents, we all live in the same small town. And then my sister lives just about an hour away. So we still all live fairly close to each other, and we are very close with our parents. And my mom has just been one of those people. She is so dependable and so reliable, and just someone that you can always lean on, and someone that you can always talk to, and she always gives great advice. And I just am so, so fortunate to have the relationship that I have with both of my parents. And I just wanted to single out my mom for this layout because it was Mother's Day, and I really like this photo of all of us with her. This is actually, I think, the only professional photo that I have of my siblings with just my mom. I do have a photo of all of us together with both of my parents, but I think it was taken at my wedding, and that was almost 15 years ago. So it was definitely time for us to get some photos taken again, and I'm so glad that my younger sister arranged for all of us to get together to have this done. And when I knew that I was going to make this layout, I went to Pinterest trying to find a quote that I could use, because I knew that the bottom portion of this frame was going to be empty, and I thought it would be a great place to put a long quote. And the quote that I came across is, "Home is wherever mom is," was what the quote was. But it didn't fit really well with the thickers that I was using. I am using the larger thickers from the Pick Me Up collection, and then also the small foam thickers. And I just didn't like how it was spaced out. So I ended up just kind of winging it and coming up with my own title. And I hope that this makes sense. Home is with mom, because it's true. My parents live in the same house that we grew up in, and they've lived there for 43 years. And I still call that house my home. I call my home that I live in my home also, but my parents' house will always be my home. It's one of those places that I still have a key, and I still just walk in without ringing the doorbell. It's just something that will always be. And I'm just so thankful too that they still live in that house. We all have so many memories there because we did all grow up there. And it's just, when I think of my mom, I think of home. So hopefully this title makes sense put together the way that I put it together. And I know that I didn't really talk a whole lot about what I was doing as I was doing it. My past couple videos have been more chatty and more storytelling than really describing what I'm doing as I'm doing it. But if you do have any questions about anything that I did on this layout or any of the techniques or products or anything that I use, please feel free to leave me a comment below and I will make sure to get back to you and answer any questions that you may have. So this layout is getting really close to being finished. In just a moment, I'm going to hold it closer to the camera so that way you can see it in a little bit more detail. So here you can see all of the layers tucked behind the photos with the fussy cut flowers and the die cuts and the stickers. I did want to have a lot of layers behind the photo just to help draw your eye in. There you can see the title, and then you can also see the gold foiling on the cut file. So here are the still shots. I do want to encourage you to head to the Cut Shop Etsy store to check out all of the cut files. And in case you missed it, the Cut Shop now has a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, you want to make sure that you join the Facebook group. Ashley posts challenges and sketches, and there's just lots of fun chit chat that happens in the Facebook group. So make sure you head there. I will link to it in the description box below, and I will be back again soon with a new layout and process video. Thank you so much for watching.